Hi everyone, welcome back. So I've got my project pan update today. This is my makeup one, so it's comprised entirely of makeup products. I tried to keep this rolling project pan to about 10 items, but I did recently discover a few more products that I want to try and use up by the end of the year. So with this current update, I have around about 11 products in the project pan, but I have one product I'm decluttering, two products that I have finished, and then two products that I want to add in. So that actually takes me down to 9 items in this project pan. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run through the products in the order in which I've got them on my list here. And the first one is one of my two foundations that's in this project pan. This is the Yves Saint Laurent Touche Éclat foundation. This one falls really nicely in the bottle, but I'm trying to keep it upright so you can clearly see how much I've got left. And I have been marking along the side my progress each month. There's not been too much progress since the last update, but there is a new line that I have marked. I've used this one 11 times, so because there are two foundations in this project pan, I alternate between them, so that's why this number is in the 10s and not in the 20s. But 11 times I think is pretty good. Now this won't be an empty by the next update because I do have that second foundation in this project pan, and then I do actually have a third one that I'm going to roll in that I will tell you about at the end of the video. This one is now actually out of date. I think this is coming up to 2 months being out of date, so I need to keep a close eye on this, see if there are any kind of reactions on my skin. Hopefully not, hopefully I can use this up until completion, but it won't be until next year now, unfortunately. And then that second foundation I also used 11 times. This is the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk foundation. I think I prefer this one to the Luminous Silk. The Luminous Silk I have on today and I think it's quite nice, but I'm not too keen on how it wears throughout the day. I do find that it moves, and I don't get that with this one. And this one looks a lot more skin finish like. It looks a lot more natural. Even though this one is fairly kind of like lightweight, I do just prefer the effect of the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk one. I don't know how much of this is left in here. I have been trying to kind of shine the light from my phone, like the torch from my phone, into here, but I'm still finding it really quite tricky to know how much is left. I will be done with the Touche Éclat one before this one though, however. I do know that I have more of this one, so this one will also be an empty next year sometime, hopefully the first kind of like 3 months of the year. Okay, first empty to talk about. This one I finished up on the 9th of the month. Took me 7 uses. It's my Fenty Invisimatte blotting powder, which I've had for a good few years. I put this one into my project pan because it is actually out of date, and I tended to only use this when I was out and about on the go. And what with me now working from home 99% of the time, that doesn't really happen that often, so this was just ending up sitting in my handbag not getting used. So I thought, let's just use this. It's a really nice powder to like bring down oiliness on like my forehead, around my T-zone. So I like this one for touch-ups during the day, but I'm still finding it tricky to find a powder that works for me when I initially apply my makeup. I don't think I've come across a powder yet that is particularly good at setting my makeup once I've put it on, but this one in terms of touch-ups is brilliant. I would highly recommend it for that, and based on that, I think I probably would buy this one again as my touch-up powder, but do still want to find one that does the job for when it comes to actually putting on my makeup. But anyway, glad that I have an empty. And that was a really easy empty to use up as well, because I was using the powder puff that kind of comes with it. Ignore it, it's disgusting. Because I'm kind of like, not digging it in, but applying pressure to pick up the powder, I think I was getting a good amount of powder each time instead of using a fluffy brush, and then you're just getting a really fine amount of it. And then I did repress this as well, and little bits of it flaked off, but not much. I've had other powders that I've repressed that have flaked off a lot more than this one, so I feel like I have used up most of this powder. So yeah, that is my first empty. The next product is also an empty actually. I used this up on the 26th of the month and it took me 18 uses, and it's one of my 3 blushes. This is the first blusher that I have ever completely used up, so I'm really quite pleased about this. It is my Stila Lilium blusher. This is the convertible colour dual lip and cheek cream, but I only use this as a cheek product. I didn't really like it on the lips, and this was a lovely pink colour, slightly too cool toned on its own on my complexion, but I mixed it in with some of the Vive blusher, and then I got a really nice peachy pink blusher. And because I mixed those two in together, I wasn't having to alternate the days in which I was using them, so my numbers for this blusher were quite high every month. Really easy blusher to use. I would just take some on my finger, blend it onto the back of my hand, dot on some of the Pesca one, blend it in with a brush, and then I would apply it, and it looked really pretty doing that. A lovely, lovely blusher, would highly recommend these, and I would be interested in trying other shades from Stila. I think they do a peachy orange one, but I think actually at the moment I have enough of those shades. But if you're after a really easy to use, pretty, healthy looking cream blusher, the Stila one is brilliant. Okay, so that Vive blusher is next. This is a Sunset Blush Balm, a liquid blusher in the shade Pesca. I used this one 23 times this month. So like I said, I would mix it in with the Stila one. This one is really beautiful as well because it's really kind of glowy and healthy and plump. A really lovely warm peach shade, so great for my complexion. And it's nice as well to know that it works mixing it in with other blushes. Now I think this is going to be an empty by the end of the year. I'm having to give this a good shake when I go to use it. And when I squeeze it, I'm squeezing it right from like the top here. So I don't think that there's too much left in here, but I will be cutting this tube open once I find it hard to get out anymore and scraping out the rest. So it might be that when I do that, I then end up with loads of product left. It's a bit of a lottery sometimes knowing how much product you've got left when you cut into things. Sometimes you have loads, sometimes you've got like 1 or 2 more use worth. So yeah, I think this one should be an empty by the end of the year. It is my like daily blusher. I've used it 23 times the last month, and I have similar figures every month, so hoping to be done with that one by the end of the year. But it is a lovely, lovely blusher. That's why it's in my project pan, not because I want to get it used up, not because it's soon to be out of date, but because I like it and I want to be panning items as well that I like. Next one is Milani Luminoso. Still not hit pan on this one. I've used it 25 times. This one I will be getting rid of by the end of the year though, because it is out of date and I feel like I'm just done with this blusher now. This is the blusher that I wear every single time I wear makeup, and I'm just done with a corally, peachy, shimmery blusher. It's very, very pretty. No faults whatsoever with this blusher. It's got a nice amount of highlight in it. Beautiful to blend, really pigmented, but you can build it up nicely as well. So really easy to use and a lovely colour, but I'm just fed up of using the same blusher every time I wear makeup. So yeah, I will be getting rid of this one by the end of the year. I do want to hit pan in this one by the end of the year because yeah, I've used it 25 times this month. I'm using it loads every single month and I'm still not there, so we will see. Next is one of 2 highlighters in this project pan. It's my liquid one by Vive. It's the XL Skin Dew. I really need to start mixing this in with some body lotion in like a separate tub to help me get through this, because I've used it 23 times the last month and I do use this practically every single time I wear makeup, but I use such a small amount that my progress is really, really slow. So I think mixing this in with some body lotion, although I keep saying that every month, will help me get through it that bit quicker. So I do need to do that. I think I'm actually going to keep this out separate to the rest of the makeup to actually force me to do that. But it is a really, really lovely highlighter, but it's another one that I'm starting to get a bit done with because I'm not really seeing much progress on it, and highlighter isn't like my favourite bit of makeup to wear anyway, so I'm just like, is it done yet? But it's not. The second highlighter is another Vive one. I've used this one 24 times. I have repressed it. It's from this Dawn Face palette. Really lovely palette. I love using this. Really beautiful shades that complement each other really well. And this is a really pretty highlighter. It's a warm light yellow gold. It's nice and finely diffused. It's not really like thick and chunky glittery highlighter. It's a really nice fine shimmer on the face, and it layers up lovely over the top of the Skin Dew. I have repressed it, but this one is taking ages to use up. I've used it 24 times. And some powders, once you repress them, you get through them like that, and other powders just take ages, and this is one that is taking ages. However, despite that, I do still think this is going to be an empty by the end of the year. Might have to start layering some of it over my eyes as well, but I do want to be done with this one by the end of the year. Next is an eyeshadow that I've used 19 times. It comes from the Urban Decay Naked Heat palette. It is the shade Ounce, so it is a shimmery warm champagne shade. I've got a bit of it all over the lid on today. I was hoping to be completely done with the shade by the end of the year. I don't think I am. I think I've still got enough for it to not be completely finished with. However, saying that, I will be decluttering this palette at the end of the year because this is the only shade that I use from this palette, and I have quite a few of these shades in the rest of my collection, so I will still be trying my hardest to use this one up by the end of the year, but I just don't think I will. I think there is too much powder left in this pan to be used up with, but it is a lovely colour, really easy to use, looks very pretty. It's nice for a bit of like a natural makeup look but with a little bit of shimmer, but it's just that with the rest of this palette, these are too dark for me. I don't really wear eyeshadow that dark. Okay, onto the decluttered product. I was thinking of keeping this in my project pan until I've completely used it up because there's not much of it left at all. This is how much is left. It's the Kiko Brow Pencil, but I have kind of come to the conclusion that when I put this and a clear brow gel on my brows, it is too much. It looks too heavy in terms of like an overall makeup look. Today, I've only got clear brow gel on, and that is all I think I need. I don't think I even need a tinted brow gel. My brows are naturally pretty good, and I think when I next go and get them waxed, I'm going to get them tinted and see how they look. So having a brow pencil like this is kind of obsolete. I don't really need it in my makeup collection, and I was thinking, oh, shall I just keep it and get it used up? But like I say, I didn't like how my makeup looked. It looked too heavy. It looked like I had like clown eyebrows. I really didn't like it, so I will be decluttering this one, and I haven't used it for a few weeks and I haven't missed it. So I have two new products to add into this project pan. The first one was to replace the Stila blusher that I used up. It is another blusher, so I am still at 3 blushes in my project pan. This is by Rare Beauty. It's one of the melting blushes, and this is in the shade Nearly Apricot. It is pretty full. I've only used it 5 times since having it in my project pan, but it mixes in really quite nicely with the Vive blusher, and then Luminoso goes on nicely over the top as well. So I do a similar sort of thing that I did with the Stila one. I would squeeze on some of this onto the back of my hand, get the brush into this, swirl it, and then swirl it into the Pesca blusher on my hand. And yeah, it just adds a bit of darkness to the Pesca one, but they're both still kind of like peachy, apricot-y shades of blusher, so it works really well. And then yeah, Milani is a peachy coral blusher, so all 3 of them work really nicely together. I think this one is going to take some time to use up though, because it is fairly new. So this one will be in my project pan for quite some time, but it will stay in my project pan into next year. And then the other new product is one that is soon to be out of date, so I need to start working on this one. It's another foundation type product. It's the Arborian CC Cream. I've got mine in the shade Claire, and it's in a 15ml tube, so half of your standard size tube that you can get in this. I have been using this on days when I just want a really quick makeup look, or if I want a really natural makeup look, I will go for this. So I have been dipping into this product, even though it's not been in my project pan, but I do think this one goes out of date in November sometime, so I do need to add this into my project pan to get it used up. So I do now have 3 foundations in this project pan, so the progress on all 3 of them will be fairly slow, because I'm going to be wearing one day, the second one the next day, the third one the day after that. So they might have about, what's that, 30, yeah, so about 10 uses worth if I'm wearing makeup every single day in a month. But it needs to be done. They need to be used up. I don't want to waste them. So I now have 9 makeup products in this project pan. I have 3 foundations. So I've got the Arborian CC Cream, Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk, and Yves Saint Laurent Touche Eclat foundation. I have 3 blushes. I've got the Vive Pesca liquid blusher, the Rare Beauty cream one, and Milani Luminoso, a powder one. 2 highlighters, a liquid one and a powder one, and then 1 eyeshadow from the Urban Decay Naked Heat palette. So I think this project pan is making it really clear that I shouldn't duplicate products, because I then make things a little bit difficult for myself when it comes to panning them. But that was the update, so I hope you did like it. So 1 declutter, 2 empties and 2 new products. Please also let me know how your project plan is going as well if you are running one. I don't think there are going to be any empties though next month for me to tell you about, but hoping to get some continuous good progress and good updates for you. So thanks once again for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.